friends, and welcome back to our homestead. Today I'm going to be making yogurt, homemade delicious thick yogurt, but not just any yogurt. It's going to be made with raw milk, and we are very blessed to have several local dairy farms, small-scale dairy farms, where we can purchase raw milk. And I appreciate the small farmer because they do test their milk to make sure that there is no bad bacteria. And one of the local farms actually not selling any milk right now because it did come back positive for bacteria, most likely from mastitis of one of the cows. And once it gets mixed with everything else, you don't know which cow actually had mastitis, so they're not selling right now. And I truly appreciate that because they're looking out for our health. So, but the other farms are selling, and I love grass-fed raw milk. Another farm in my area, their cows don't go outside on the pasture. They stay in the barn, listen to the music, and eat lots of hay and some corn. So that's not my favorite milk. I do not purchase that milk. I go to a farm that cows are free ranging on the beautiful pasture, eating beautiful green grass, very healthy, and they produce beautiful, delicious milk. So raw milk has so many benefits, and I'm sure you have heard, we've been sold that, germ theory, that germs are bad and it can kill us. But you know what? Listen, we actually can be exposed to germs anywhere, buying produce, buying anything else, and even the processed foods can have listeria and other E. coli and other bacteria that can be potentially very dangerous. So raw milk has many benefits. And there was a time when I did not consume any dairy because I developed a lactose intolerance. But guess what? Raw milk is very different. Raw milk has these fatty acids, okay, because it's not homogenized. Let me show you. So here's milk. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a little, all right. So here's milk. Okay, here's milk, but at the top, it's all fat. It's not homogenized, meaning that the fat rises to the top, and it's a beautiful, raw, unadulterated, beautiful, natural milk, just the way God intended. So for people who have lactose intolerance, it's because homogenized and pasteurized milk actually destroyed all the fatty acids that are there naturally, okay, to help you to make calcium and other fat soluble vitamins available to you, because it's homogenized. In the microscopic level, they separate the fats from the milk, right? And also because it's pasteurized at high temperatures, they kill all of the enzymes, the proteins that's supposed to help us to absorb and break down things like lactose. See, there's certain enzymes that are in the milk that are designed to help us to digest lactose. But once they're destroyed by pasteurization, we develop lactose intolerance, and we get bloating, and we get other unpleasant symptoms. So enough about raw milk. I know it's good. I'm gonna stand on my platform, love raw milk. And if you want to learn more about raw milk and the benefits of raw milk, Weston Price Foundation, it's a beautiful organization that talks a lot about real foods, real milks, real fats, and how essential they are to our good health. All right, let's get back to the yogurt make. Okay, we're gonna start by adding the milk, and I'm not gonna take the cream out. I'm gonna keep the cream in. It's gonna be a delicious, beautiful yogurt. All right, so I'm gonna pour a gallon of milk in here. Okay, let me mix this one. A gallon of milk. All right. And we're gonna bring it to the stove because I need to warm this up. I'm gonna warm it up, but not to kill any of the enzymes. I'm gonna try to keep them all alive. So I'm gonna warm this up only to 110 degree Fahrenheit. 110, not 180, because 180 will kill most of the beneficial enzymes in here, and I'm not gonna do it, only 110. So it's still gonna be raw milk yogurt. Okay, time to check on the temperature. Oh, okay, it's already 114, so turn off the heat, and I'm gonna move it off the heat because it's a cast iron. It's gonna keep on cooking for me the whole time. So I'm just gonna move it away from the heat a little bit, and I'm gonna be adding the yogurt culture. I'm gonna be taking this yogurt culture. So for 1 gallon of milk, I'm gonna be using half a cup of yogurt. Oh, mine is a little generous, half a cup. And I'm gonna put it in here, and I'm gonna stir it all up, okay? So it's nicely distributed. So, you know, I was thinking about how did our ancestors make yogurts and kefirs without thermometers, definitely without digital thermometers. How did they do it? I'll tell you how they did it. They warmed it up in a stove. Well, in my culture, it was a Russian pechka, Russian stove, and they would gauge it by putting their finger in it, and it would be a pleasant, warm temperature. That's how they would know. See how pleasant it is? 110, very pleasant. And I'm gonna stir it all up now, so it's distributed throughout everywhere. If you want to use a whisk, you can use a whisk. All right. And now for the off-grid trick. I'm gonna use a cooler. I'm gonna use a cooler to maintain a constant temperature of 110 degrees. So I'm gonna fill up my cooler with warm water, and I'm gonna use a thermometer to make sure that it's 110 degrees in here. And that's how we're gonna be culturing, processing our yogurts in here. So there's no worry that I need to maintain a certain temperature in my room or certain temperature in the oven, or using a fancy yogurt maker that's using electricity, or using a crock pot that's using electricity. None of that. I'm going to be doing it in the cooler. I'm going to fill it up with warm water. I'm going to make sure it's 110 degrees, and my yogurt is going to sit here for the next 8 to 10 hours and do its thing. Isn't this amazing? So I'm just filling it up with warm water. So at this point, I can put a cover on just like this and put it right into my cooler, where the warm water will reach about 1/4 inch to the top, and it's going to maintain the same temperatures at all times. Okay, and then I can just take it from here later on, or I can strain it if I want to make thick Greek yogurt style yogurt. But I also know that my family prefers to actually, if I make it straight into the jar, and it develops right in a jar. So that's what I'm going to be doing. We're not going to strain it. We like the way it is. So I'm going to be filling up my jars. All right, beautiful. Jar 1 is ready. I'm going to be filling up all my jars, and they can be little jars if you want to do in pints, or even smaller if you have kids. And then guess what? It's beautiful to throw in your lunch, and it's good on a go. You can just throw some berries in there if you want, or some nuts, or put a little maple syrup, a little honey. So this is what I'm doing. So they're going to be developing all of this beautiful probiotic, healthy lactofermentation will be taking place right in the jar. And I'm going to be putting covers on them. Okay, so I've decided to actually make 4 quarts and 1 pint. Again, I'm putting lids on them. Okay, on all of them. And they're going to go into my cooler that is filled with warm water. In the winter when we have wood stove going, it's very easy for me to put it on top of the shelf on a mantle above the wood stove, and it's a perfect place to kind of keep it going all night. All right, but right now we don't have such perfect temperature set up, so it's gonna go into the cooler with warm water. Okay, all my jars are here, and it's about an inch away from the top for the pint, but everything is gonna stay nice and warm in here. I'm gonna put the cover on, and I'll see you guys in 8 to 10 hours. All right, let's take a look at this yogurt. It's not gonna be as thick as if it was, one flying, because it's not as thick as Greek yogurt, because Greek yogurt has to be strained, but this is nice and thick. Look at it, isn't that beautiful? Now here's the story. Because this milk was not scalded, it was not warmed up to 180 first, so there are live enzymes and live bacteria in here that came with the raw milk. So sometimes that actually competes with the cultured bacteria that I added. So sometimes the setting time for it to become thicker might take a little longer than 8 hours. Don't be surprised if it has to go overnight, 10, 12 hours, or even 24 hours. And in 24 hours, my friends, if you do 24 hours, even has more of these beautiful probiotics in here. It's going to be rich probiotic cultured raw yogurt. All right, so at this point, if you like, you can strain it through a cheesecloth. Cheesecloth should be folded many times, so the whey will go down and the solids will stay up, and then it will be like Greek yogurt. It will be higher in protein amount, and it will have less carbs in it, because all of the carbs, the sweetness, will end up in the whey. But I'm not gonna separate anything. It's gonna go in the fridge just like this, and we're gonna enjoy it with berries, with nuts, in smoothies, in pancakes, you name it. So here it is, raw milk yogurt. It's delicious. So friends, be encouraged and try something new.